Hi everyone, David Jackson here with slingandstonemarketing.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to add pricing tables to your WordPress website using the Elementor Pro plugin so you can show prospects the differences between each pricing model you have and draw attention to the product or plan that's best for them. But first, if you are new to the channel and want to learn about tools and strategies to help you market your business online, consider subscribing and click the bell so you'll get notified when I upload new videos. And if there are any topics you want me to cover in future videos, let me know in the comments. Before I get started with this tutorial, I just want to quickly mention that this is an Elementor Pro feature. I put a link in the description below which will take you to their current pricing, and I also put a link below that will take you to a comparison table so that you can see the difference between the Pro version and the free version. Now, if you purchase the Pro version using my link, Elementor will give me a commission which helps support this channel at no additional cost to you. So thank you for your support. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is sign into your WordPress website. And I already have a page built, so I'm just going to go to that over here on the left. I'm going to click on Pages. Now for you, if you are creating a new page or a new post, you can just create the new page or the new post. But I'm going to go to the demo pricing page, click on Edit with Elementor. And this will open up the Elementor editor. So this is a template that I just brought in from the Elementor library. It was one of their pre-made templates. The page that you create, you can bring in a template from there yourself, or you can create your own and then put in the pricing table where you want it to display. So if we take a look at this page and I scroll down, here we have the Choose the Right Plan for You, and it's our fitness plan. So I want to put a pricing table right underneath this in this section. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag over the intersection and put it right under there. And it's going to default to 2 columns. So I just only want 1 right now. So I'm going to delete the second column. Then I'm going to come over here and go back over to the widgets panel. And I'm going to scroll down and grab the pricing table and put it into that intersection. Alright, so now we have one of our pricing tables. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to style this pricing table first, so then that way I won't have to do it for every table that I want to have. So at the end I want to have 3 different pricing plans. So if I do all the colors and styling for one table, then I can just duplicate it 2 more times and not have to do the styling all over again. So let's take a look at the pricing table features over here on the left. The first thing we have is our header. So that will be right here. And I want to say, let's say that this is going to be for newbies. Alright, and the description, you can put anything that you want to put in the description, but I think I'm just going to leave that blank. And then you can change the heading. You can have it be an H2, H4, 5, or 6. It doesn't really matter. If you're familiar with HTML and you want it to be a specific heading tag, you can do that there. Next we have the pricing, where you can change the currency symbol for your country. I'm going to leave mine as dollars, and then you can change the price. So for the price, I'm going to put mine as $29. And then you have a currency format. So for those of you that might use commas for the cents, you can change that here. But for here in America, we use a decimal point to designate the cents, and we're just going to keep that as a default. Then if you want to show a sale amount or an original price, you can flip that on and you can put in what the original price would be. So like, let's say, for instance, for now, my $29 monthly is on sale, and usually it would have been, let's say, $39 a month. So now that shows over here, and it's got a line crossed out through it. And you can change the period, so it could be monthly, you can have it be weekly. I'll just leave mine as monthly, or you can even have just put per month. Then next we're going to do the features. Now the features are these list items right here. So this is where you would want to put everything that will be included within this plan. So let's say, for instance, our list item 1, we're just going to click on that, and we're going to highlight this text. I'm going to put something like full gym access. There we are. And then you can change the icon if you want, or you can just get rid of it. So I'm going to put a different icon here. Let's see if they have a dumbbell. Yes, they do. All right, so we'll click on the dumbbell, click on insert, and now we have a little dumbbell there to designate like a gym. You can change the icon color by clicking on that, just picking whatever color you want. And once you have that, if you click on the little label again, that'll close. You can duplicate a field. You can add more. So now I have even more list items. And you can just go in and you can put in whatever features you want for this specific plan. All the things that you're going to get for $29 per month in this case. Play around with it, put in the features that you want, search for some icons that will make things really stick out. And then once you're done with that, you can move on to the footer. And this is where our little button text and everything is going to be. So I'm going to change that from click here to sign up. And then we can put a URL here for the link, which will take them to like maybe a sign up page where they put in some of their information and can put in their credit card information and sign up for your plan. Then the additional info could be like the little fine print. Maybe the terms of the plan, saying that it has to be a 1-year commitment or something like that. Then next we have the ribbon, which right now is showing up here in the upper right. This is a good way to bring even more attention to a specific plan that people either sign up for because it's more popular or maybe it's the best value. If you don't want to show it, you can just turn that off. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it on for now. I like that it says popular, so I'm going to use that on the popular plan. And then of course you can position it so it's on the right now, or you can position it on the left. And so now that we have all of that set, let's go up to the styling. So here for the header, we have the background color which we can style. So let's say I want that to be kind of a color like that, maybe a little more blue, something like that. We can add padding. Let me unlink these, and I'll put on the top, let's say like 25, bottom 25. Let's bump both of those up to something like 40. Really give it some space there. Then you have the title, which is what I have right here, which is newbies. We can change the color of the text for that. And I'll just leave mine as white. And then you can also change the typography. So you can choose the font family. You can change the size here by using the slider, or just by typing it in. Let's just say 50 for right now. The weight, you have all of these different weight options. You can transform it to have it be all uppercase if you want, all lowercase, or just capitalized. I'm just going to leave it as normal. Some different styling options, the italic, or you can even put underlines and overlines Then you have the line height, which you can adjust. Just go ahead and get rid of that. And then of course your letter spacing, which you can also adjust as well. So just kind of spread those out. All right, so once you have that looking the way that you want, we can move on to the subtitle, which in this case, I don't have one. So I'm just gonna go back to the content tab and I'm gonna put in a little subtitle there. So that will be the description. And I'm gonna say that this is for beginners. There we go. All right, let's go back to the style tab and back down to the subtitle. And the color is fine. I'm just going to leave that as white. The typography though I want to change. I want to make this just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do something like that. Let's just make it an even 20. Yeah, that looks good. And then you still have the same options that you had for the title. Next, we're going to go to pricing. And you have the background color for the pricing section, so you can see what that area is when I do that. Let me clear that out. You also have some padding options as well. And then you can also change the color for the pricing. So I think I'm just gonna keep it as that color right now. And then you also still have the typography where you can change the size. That looks pretty good. Let's just do 70. And then you can also change the size of the currency symbol. So if you really want to make it pretty big, you can. Let's just put this at like 50. And then you can change the position of the currency symbol. Here in the US, the $ goes in front of the numbers. But in some other countries, the currency symbol might go behind the numbers, so you can position it either before or after. You also have a vertical position. Right now it's at the top. You can adjust that to the middle or the bottom. So you have some options there for you. And then for the fractional part, that's like if you have like the 99 cents. So if I go back to the content tab and I were to go to pricing, and have my price be $29.99, then that's the fractional part right here. That's your little cents tab. So I'll leave that for right now. So you can see what it looks like. If I go back to style and pricing, come back down to where it says the fractional part, you can change and adjust the size of the fractional part. I'll just leave that as the default. And then you have the vertical position of the fractional part as well. You can set it in the middle or at the bottom. So I'll leave that at the top. And then next you have styling for the original price. So this price that has the line through it is going to be styled here. So we can change the color for that. We can change the typography for that as well. And we can also change the vertical position for that as well. So I think that I'm going to go to the typography and bump that up just a little bit. And let's put it at 30. There we go. Then next we have our period styling. So that's the per month that I have right here. You change the color. I think I like the typography just the way it is, and then we can position it either below or next to the price. I think I like mine to be below. So once you have all of the pricing style just the way you like, we're going to move on to features. And again, we have the background color, so you can see what area we're talking about here. Go ahead and clear that. You still have padding for that area as well. And then you have the text color for each of your features that you have listed. So let's say I want all of the features to be a certain color, if red or blue or purple or green or orange or whatever. I'm just going to clear that. I'm just going to leave it just the way it is. And then you have the typography options as well, where you can change the font, the size, all of the weight and decorations just as you could with all of the other styling. But then we have this option where we can align our features. So we can have them all aligned to the left, which could make sense in some instances. It doesn't look quite right with our table being this big, but when you have multiple columns, the columns are going to become more narrow. And if you were to add some padding and everything, then it can line up pretty nicely. Just have all of your features lined up to the left, and they'll be more kind of centered within the column. But as of right now, I'm just going to leave mine as centered. And then you also have the width that you can play around with. That would be the width of the text area. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that and leave it as the default. The next thing we have is whether or not you want to show the divider between each of your features. I like to have it on. It just kind of makes each feature pop out just a little bit more. You can change the style for your divider. You can have it be double, dotted, or dashed. I'm just going to leave it as solid. And then you can change the color for your divider as well. So I like it to be just that kind of light grayish. So I'm going to leave that there. Then next is the thickness of your divider. So you can make it really thick if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it as the default, which I think was at 2. You can change the width of your divider as well. So if you don't want it to be across the entire table, you can change that as well. Then next you have the gap in between each of your features. So you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, so that you can fit more onto the screen. I think I'll just leave it as, let's just put something like 15. Yeah, we'll bring that down a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. So once you have your features all set up, we'll move on to the footer. So let me scroll down just a little bit so we can bring the footer into view. Again, you have your background color. So that's this area right here. Let me go ahead and clear that. You have padding options should you want to add more padding to that area. And then you have the button. We're going to make the button size, I'm going to make that a large in this case. And then we're going to do the styling of our button. Normal is just the way it looks normally, but then you also have options for hover. So when the mouse hovers over the button, you can change the text color, the background color, and everything here. So those are your options for that. So for normal, the text color, I actually want it to be this nice blue. The typography, let's see, I'm going to put the weight as kind of a bold, like a 700. And I'm going to increase the size a little bit. Whoa, that's a little too much. Let's back that down just a little bit. There we go. Somewhere around 30. Looks good. All right, and then for the background color, I want to use a yellow, kind of a yellowish color here. That might be a little too much. Yeah, something like that. There we go. And then for the hover, I want the text color to stay the same, but I want to change the background color. I want to move it to kind of like a deeper orange here. Let's say that's pretty deep. Yeah, we'll do something like that. Alright, so now when we hover over it, it changes the background color. You can also set an animation for the hover. So let's say, we want it to pop when we hover. So not only will it change color, but it will have a little pop effect. So you can go through, you can check out all of the different animations, pick whichever one you want. I'm just going to leave it as none. Go back to normal. I'm not going to put a border on there, but you can, if you want to, you can choose the type of border that you want. You can add a border radius. That I might actually do. I'll put it at like 10. Just surround the edges out a little bit more. And then you can also do the padding around the text. So after you have your button all set up the way that you want it, we're going to move on to the additional info. And that's like where this little fine print text is. So you can choose the color for that. I'm pretty happy with the color that's already there. You can also change the typography, and you can add a margin around that as well. So that will just kind of give you even more space between like the button and where your text is. But I like the default just the way it is. So I'm going to leave that as that. And then next we're going to move on to the ribbon. So let me scroll up just a little bit so we can see our popular ribbon right here. We have the option of setting the background color. So what I want to do is I want it to be the same color that I have as my normal color for the button. So I'm going to go back to the footer and look at the button where it says normal and the background color. So I'm going to click on that, copy this, close that, go back to the ribbon, the background color, and paste. Alright. Then I also want to grab the color of the text that I have for my button. So that's going back to the footer, the button text color. I'm going to copy that, come back to the ribbon, go to the text color, and paste it there. So that looks good. We also have where we can change the distance of the ribbon. So if we want it to be further in, you just move this along. But I think right there looks about good. You know, if you have more letters, more words on your ribbon, then you might need the distance to be even more. But I think for popular, right here is good enough. Then next we have the typography. So that again is the font family, the size, and the weight and everything, all the settings that we have for typography on all the other ones, on all the other options that we have, we can do that for the ribbon as well. And there's also a box shadow if we wanted to put one on the ribbon. I don't think that there's really any need for it, at least not for me, but if you want to have one, you can set that up for yours as well. So now we have our style for our table. We're going to go up on the panel and we're going to go to the Advanced tab. And here we have options for the margin, which will be around our table. We have options for the padding, which will be inside of the table. So this will be looking at the padding for the entire table itself, not just for the separate sections like we did in the Styles tab. The other options we have are like the Z index, the CSS ID, CSS classes. These are all pretty advanced, so if you're not sure what any of these mean, don't worry about it. It's mostly for people who are familiar with CSS coding and CSS rules. The next thing we have are the motion effects. So if we want to add any scrolling mouse effects or have this table be a sticky, we can set all of that here. The entrance animation, so when someone is scrolling down the page and they get to this section, then we can have our table animate in some kind of a way. So you can look at all of the different entrance animations. The next thing we have is the background. So you won't really see the background as it is right now because we don't have any padding on our table, so the background color and everything won't really show. But if you had padding around your table, if you wanted that background to show, You can set a classic background or an image, or even create a gradient for that background. You can do all of that here. You can do it for both the normal and for hovering effects. So we'll close that, and we're going to go to border. So this will be your border settings for the table. I'm just going to leave it as none, but you have your border options here. You can choose to have a border radius if you want, or even a box shadow around your pricing table as well. Then the next thing we have is positioning, which is some pretty advanced stuff. So you probably really won't need to fool around with any of these, but you can always just pick these, see what they do over in the editor. It'll show you what they do, and then you can just set it the way that you want it to behave. The next thing is the responsive settings, so we can hide this on either the desktop, the tablet, or the mobile. And then the attributes are pretty advanced, so again, if you don't know what any of this stuff means, don't worry about it. It's mostly for people who understand coding. And the same goes with the custom CSS. If you don't understand any of this, don't even worry about it. So once you've gone through and you set up your table just the way you like it, you got the colors and everything, and the text and the fonts looking just right, you have all of your different features all listed and the icons. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this 2 more times into separate columns, so then that way I'll have 3 pricing tables, and then all I have to do is just make minor changes in the other 2 and not have to go through all of the styling again that I just went through. So in order to do that, you're going to come up here where it says it has the edit column symbol. I'm going to right click on that, and we're going to click duplicate. So now we have 2 pricing tables, all with the same styling. Then we're going to do that again. We're going to come up here to the upper left, click on the edit, right click on the edit column, click on duplicate again, and now I have 3 pricing tables. So I'm going to go back to the first one on the left. I'm going to click on the edit this price table. That will bring up my price table options over here on the left. Then I'm going to go to content, and I'm going to get rid of the ribbon on this one. So I'm going to click on ribbon, and then for the show, click that to no. All right. I like the pricing already. This is all that I set up earlier in the video. So the next thing I'm going to do is go over to this middle one, click on the edit price table, and then I'm going to change the header. So instead of newbies, I'm going to put something like regulars. Right, and then for the description, instead of for beginners, I'm going to put maybe something like for athletes. I'm going to change the pricing. So let's say the original price for my regular plan was something like $79, but I have it on sale for $59.99. Then all I need to do is go down to features, and obviously if you are going to be paying more, then you might expect there to be more features that a person gets for the money that they're paying. So I'm going to change this second full gym access, and I'm going to put something like you have a private area, or maybe a private gym area. All right, so the newbies, the beginners, they only have full access to the regular gym. But if you are an athlete, if you have the regular plan, then not only do you have full access to the regular gym, but you also have like a private area that's specifically for the people in this higher tier plan. Maybe it won't be as crowded. You'll be able to work out more and quickly because someone's not on a machine that you want to use, something like that. And then you can just list off some other features that this plan has that the other one doesn't. So once I've made the modifications that I want to for this plan, I'm going to go over and go to the far right column, and I'm going to edit that table. So that brings up the options for that pricing table. I'm going to change the title from newbies to pros, and instead of for beginners, I'm going to put bodybuilders. Then I need to change the pricing for that. So let's say the original price is usually, let's say $149. But the price that I'm going to sell it for is $129.99. There we go. Then on this one, I want to get rid of the ribbon as well, because that's not my popular plan. The regular one is. So now this one kind of sticks out even more. It's in the center. It has a little popular ribbon on it. You know, this will draw people's attention to this one first. They'll be able to see what the price is, see what all the features are. Then obviously with the pros, you're probably going to have more features. So let's see, if I go, I'm in the content tab. If I go to features, let me just add a couple of more items here. Add item, add item. And the newbies probably won't have as many features. So if I click on that, go to the features, and I get rid of 2 of them. There we go. So now, as you can see, newbies, you get some features. The regular plan, you get even more. And then for the pros, the bodybuilders, you get even more stuff. So you can go through and you can put everything the way that you want it to be. Once it looks good in the editor, you can come over here into the lower right. We're going to save. And then we're going to preview the changes. Alright, so here's my page. I'm going to scroll down, and here I have the fitness plans. So it looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go ahead and close that tab, get back to the editor, and something just came to mind. I just want to kind of do something just to draw a little bit more attention to it. So I'm going to come over here to the first column. I'm going to edit that. I'm going to go to advanced, and I'm going to come down to motion effects. I think that I have an effect that I can use that'll be pretty cool. So for the entrance animation, I want it to fade in left. Yeah, I want to have that happen on that one. The animation duration, let's see what it looks like if it's fast. Nah, I think normal's good. And then I'm going to go over to the right column, edit that pricing table. I'm going to go over to advanced, come down to motion effects, and then for the entrance animation, I'm going to fade in right. I'm going to keep the duration as normal. I'm going to save it, and let's preview the changes. So here we have our page. We scroll down, and each of these, the outside columns will fly in from off the screen. So it just kind of adds a little movement, kind of draws the eye down to some movement that's going on. So I like the way that looks. I think I'm just going to keep that right there. I'm going to close the tab. Now, since I already published this page, this button down here at the right will say update. But for you, if you started a new page, it's going to say publish for you. So you can just, once you have everything looking the way that you want it to be, you can go ahead and click on publish. But in my case, I'm going to click on update. And now my pricing table is live on my website. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe. And if you followed along with this tutorial and were able to get a pricing table on your website, leave a comment below and use the hashtag GiantSlayer. Until next video, go out and slay some giants.